Conscious rap, aka real rap, aka woke rap, and everything in between has been a long-standing subgenre within the large web that is hip-hop, but with the influx of new faces and styles within the industry, people have started to care more about how many bells you can put into a song and less about whatever pseudo-intellectualism a 30-year-old dude can put into a verse. Which is why for today's video, I'm back to talk about where conscious rap has landed and how much time it's got left in the spotlight. Scooby Gang, man, what's happening? I'm back, you're back. I just got a year older a couple days ago. I'm feeling pretty damn good right now, you feel what I'm saying? I got another Sprite with me, you know what I mean? I'm feeling wonderful right now, man. What the fuck? I'm not gonna lie, I'm recording this shit at like 11:40 at night because I procrastinate, and that's what lazy people do, and there's nothing you can do about it. But as y'all can see for today, man, we gotta take a look at conscious rap, you know what I mean? Because if there's one thing I've realized is that, man, people don't really give a fuck about conscious rap no more. Not at least on the grand scale that we used to. I feel like, you know, it's just been dumbed down to, are you a Kendrick Lamar or are you a J. Cole? And I personally am neither. But what I will personally say is that, you know, there were a lot of people who bumped, you know, that conscious rap stuff, you know, a lot of that, you know, more woke minded stuff per se, not to try and sound like your 40-year-old conservative uncle, and I feel like nowadays, I feel like the hip hop scene has kind of dived away from that, mainly only, you know, spotting up into underground scenes or like, you know, that rage trap stuff, you know, that's still kind of going on. You know, you got guys like Destroyed Lonely, you know, that's kind of like the wave right now. You know, people aren't really like getting into conscious rap as much as they used to back in like, you know, the early 2010s, you know, to like 2015, I guess. That's kind of when it, you know, peaked out, hit its edge.
After Pac, aggressive hip hop continued to dominate. Even Nelly's first single was about street sweepers. DMX continued with the emotions. Will Smith filled the void in Hollywood.
Man just said Will Smith. You know, when I think about Will Smith in being a rapper, I can only think of Will Smith when he made that one diss track, you know, when he was talking about how everybody kept basically just making fun of him. You know, you had Eminem, you had Nick Cannon. That's all I can really think about whenever I think about Will Smith. It was just so goofy. Also, that and that Summertime song, do you remember that? You probably don't. I just never see Will Smith as a rapper. I only see him as an actor.
Possessing the power to alert listeners to causes far removed from their own, conscious or backpack rap is more vital now than ever. And in the wake of the George Floyd case, we saw an influx of artists ranging from Lil Baby to Conway the Machine feeling compelled to act. However,
bro, this man really put Joyner Lucas here. I mean, all respect to Joyner, but that dude genuinely is corny. That dude genuinely is like one of the corniest rappers in the game.
While artists such as Tupac and NWA could have been counted as political hip-hop, the pendulum has swung. And now, the feeling is that the average hip-hop listener doesn't want to be enlightened or educated, but entertained without context or content beyond what they're hearing. From bars about drug use, as well as the usual claims to be the best in the game, many believe that we've reached a point where lyrical substance is taboo in mainstream hip-hop. But in the view of Black Star member and leading conscious MC Talib Kweli, he believes that both the press and the record companies have gone out of their way to stifle its popularity.
He's not wrong. He's really not. He's not wrong. Because, I mean, when you really think about it, a lot of times when people, you know, they listen to guys, you know what I mean, such as, you know, Kendricks and the J. Coles and whatever, they don't get as strongly positive as a reception simply because they're not seen in the same light as some of the other rappers that can make that more easily digestible music, you know, such as Playboi Carti or the Travis Scotts of the game. You know what I mean? In a way, it's also equally, you know, destroyed what potential conscious rap could have had in modern hip-hop. But at the same time, no, with how diverse hip-hop has gotten, now you can kind of just enjoy whatever you want at this point now with less criticism than you could before, because, you know, now you got people, you know, listening to JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown, you know, a lot more unironically, you know, a lot more freely. But it also just doesn't take away from, you know, you have those certain artists, you know, such as, let's take Cordae, for example. Now, I'm not a Cordae fan. I think he's dookie ass. But at the same time, I'm also not going to like shit on him too much because, I mean, you know, he's simply just a product of his inspirations. He obviously has J. Cole inspiration, who is one of the more popular conscious rappers out there. It's a mixture of, one, nobody really cares, and two, his music just isn't that well received.
The dilemma that rappers face was accurately described by JayZ on the Black album's Moment of Clarity. On what was originally intended as his retirement album, Hov explained why, on his come up, he decided to minimize his engagement with conscious rap in order to maximize profits. F skill soul, truth be told, I probably be lyric lead Talib Kweli. Truthfully, I wanna rhyme like common sense, but I did 5 mil and I ain't been rhyming like common sense. Cut from the same cloth in which he can entertain in one breath and educate the next, Denzel Curry has a long way to go to be truly embraced by hip hop.
Denzel Curry, man. I feel like Denzel Curry's kind of gotten at least some flowers. Denzel Curry is weird because he's like mainstream, but he's not like above the waters mainstream. Like he's sitting right in the middle of like still low key, but just mainstream enough for quite a bit of people to know him. And I feel like it's kind of good though, because like at one point Denzel Curry was the guy that made that meme song. You remember that? You remember like from the Vine days when Denzel Curry had that one song, I am the one your son. You remember that song? He was that guy at that one point, and then he was able to, you know, pick it up and become a more well-developed artist and a much more skilled rapper, come on to better footing within today's hip-hop scene.
Meanwhile, the ceiling towards conscious hip-hop was such a point of frustration for No Name that she threatened retirement at numerous points. I refuse to keep making music and putting it online for free for people who won't support me, she said in 2019. If y'all don't want to leave the crib, I feel it. I don't want to dance on stage for white people.
I'm dead. I mean, I kind of feel it though. Why make music for people who won't listen, you know? And I don't mean that as in a sense of like necessarily actually listening to the song. I mean, you know, both metaphorically listening and, you know, actually listening. So, I mean, I kind of get it.
An artist who's never once diluted his music for anyone, Lupe Fiasco suggested that when it comes to creating dumbed down music over conscious rap, there's still ways in which you can make a positive impact once you step out of the studio.
Certain things you have to do for the sake of, you know, sending your little sisters to college. You know what I'm saying? Is that that's the greater good? You know, sometimes the greater good mean you gotta go through a lot of nonsense to get there.
To Lupe's credit, he's right, with many artists who aren't seen as conscious still engaging in activism or philanthropy on a grassroots level.
It's weird because like that's the price you have to pay to sell out to mainstream. Like, oh yeah, you can make these, you know, more serious tone things that you'd want to make, but it's like you'd be making it at the cost of gaining nothing in terms of your career. Like, you know what I mean? Like Lupe Fiasco is a good example because it's just like Lupe Fiasco was basically like the pretense for guys like Kendrick, you know, and Lupe was popping off back in like the early to mid 2000s. He, you know what I mean? He was like a prodigy in a sense, you know, but then, you know, he released his album Lasers, and Lasers ironically was his most commercially successful album, right? But at the same time, it was also his musically worst album he could have ever made. It was his worst album he made, musically speaking. It was this very popified, very dull, very boring, very uninspiring album that nobody who actually bothers to listen to it now would actually want to listen to ever again. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I mean, it garnered him, you know, some sort of mainstream appeal for that time being. You know, unfortunately, it just costed him his musical creativity to do so, but thankfully he's back, and you know, he's actually dropping music that he wants to drop as if it was the early 2000s, which is good. So good for Lupe.
And in the view of Dreamville's boss, this is manifesting in the music too.
You think that era of like conscious rap is supposed to be like against street rap or whatever? You feel like that's kind of old school and that kids don't think about it that way, or do you think your fans think about it that way?
I would hope not. I mean, Kodak to me is a conscious rapper. He's a street rapper, but he got songs where you're like, damn, like I feel exactly where he's coming from. I feel his struggles. A lot of
that's another interesting point too, because it's just like, that's why I hate the term, like, you ever heard the term real rap? Like, I hate the term real rap because it's just like all it does is pin this non-existent rivalry between the different sub-genres of hip-hop that shouldn't be a thing at all. Like, what do you mean real rap? All hip-hop is hip-hop. All rap is rap. There's different facets to it, you know what I mean? And when you try to pit the more lyrical, the more conscious rap, you know what I mean, the stuff that, you know, that talks about those kind of realities and whatnot, against, you know, the more popified, you know, the more trendy stuff, you know, the things that don't, you know, poke out into those kind of sections, like, it just makes this pointless, unnecessary beef within the modern hip hop community, especially. So, and as he said, you know, you have rappers on both ends of the stick would play on both sides. So it's just like when you got, you know, people who are just, you know, real rap this and trying to place people in a box. It's just like, well, there is no box. There is no such thing as real rap, you know, because these guys can kind of just do whatever they want and make it work, you know. All right, so that was a fire video. My final thoughts: is conscious rap, you know, in a sense dead? No. Conscious rap is still alive in some sense. And I said it before, you know, hip hop, you know, especially modern hip hop, modern music in general, you know what I mean? People have gotten so much more into modern music nowadays. There's so many different lanes to it now. You know what I mean? You truly can enjoy whatever you want when it comes to music. You don't really have to force yourself into a box, even as a listener. And when it comes to conscious hip hop, it's just, I feel like it's kind of just another label that's kind of just placed on, you know what I mean, to kind of slide another subgenre in the large web of music subgenres that there are. And conscious rap is still alive. Poo poo pee pee. I love all of y'all, you know what I mean. Send all your happy birthday wishes in the comments below. I need to get some Z's. I'll catch y'all fuckers later. Good night. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow my IG on Twitter and follow Chocolate on Instagram for more illustrations. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time when I drop a 50-song mixtape on Bandcamp. Peace. Bhajo Gaurang, Love Gaurang.